So in this section of the module, we're going to go through the entire production process really quickly before you get to working on it. I already talked about in detail about how planning is the most successful thing. Wear a producer hat, a fundraiser hat, a composer hat, a marketer hat, a networker hat, everything, right? I can't emphasize this enough, that just the fact that you have it all planned out as a musician will shock people and get all sorts of people more interested in you than you would otherwise, because most musicians are not organized at all. So, for example, on this song that we're about to do some work on, if you're going to ask a bunch of musicians in a certain genre, mine is children's music, you want a bunch of children's music stars to work on it, don't ask them all at once in a spam email. I asked the 2 people I knew would say yes first, right? I got them on board. Then I email the 3rd person or call them and say, hey, X, Y, and I are doing a climate change song. All of a sudden, it seems like something the cool kids are doing. And that person says, okay, I'll do it. And then you keep going from there. That's how you get people involved personally. And there's always a next person. So do not worry about the people who say no. There are certainly people who said no. The only crucial person to your project is you. I hear this mistake all the time where somebody pitches a project by saying, I'm working with Bruno Mars's engineer on whatever. All you just told me is that you know you're not important. And you are important. You just devalued yourself to the engineer. You're the only crucial person in your project, right? And act that way. Throw in the Bruno Mars crap afterwards. That's impressive. But only after the project's about you. People actually want the project to be about you if they're going to work on it. I will also tell you just random planning elements include your image, right? When I do Dr. Noise albums, I always have really awesome looking 3D animated graphics, because that communicates to people. Everybody knows that 3D animated stuff costs a lot of money. They're like, oh, this is a high-end production. That's because that's how I'm trying to position myself. And that's the kind of music that I want to do for kids. If I was a punk artist, there's no way in hell I would have artwork like that. Nobody wants to work with a well-funded punk artist. Nobody wants to listen to well-funded punk music. So think about what your image is before you even start, right? Now, we're going to get to songwriting. I personally, because I'm an obsessive planner, my favorite instrument is my brain. I generally don't sit down and start recording a demo or a song until the song's basically done in my head. That doesn't mean it won't change when I'm tracking. It means it will change from a plan instead of I'm just making stuff up as I go. Now, there are different musicians who do different things. If I was a world-class jazz virtuoso guitar player, I might have a completely different approach. So I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but it is useful. It's certainly useful if you're managing studio time and production time and stuff like that. So I like to plan all my stuff. I like to do demos, MIDI demos of songs before I send them out to musicians. Now we're going to get into the mix. All right, so now we are on my incredibly high-tech, shoving my iPhone on a tripod on my keyboard in front of my computer to show you the screen with iPhone sound. You're welcome. One day maybe I'll get all green screeny like Professor McGuire. But right now, this is what we got. So, recording the song, the first thing I would do if I were you in your situation is I would master a DAW. It should probably be Pro Tools, because that's the DAW that's the standard in the industry, and it's the one that we feature the most at CU Denver. Of course, having said that, I'm using Logic. It could be Logic. You can see it in front of you. It could be Live. It doesn't really matter which one it is. They're all really good. Just get really good at one of them. And for your student career, I think you should start with Pro Tools. Okay? But in Logic here, I'm pretty good at Logic. You can see there are a gazillion tracks in this. I always demo songs first. I actually did this about 6 months ago, and I was going to replace some of these with real instruments. It ended up, then COVID hit. I did my own horn section with a bunch of saxophone parts. Here they are right here. Let's get this narrower. I did the drums in Logic, which we'll talk about in a moment. The bass, I played guitar parts. I also had some unusual instruments like the Turkish, I don't even know what this is called, but it's guitar-y. Let's see. The Turkish oud lute, of course. And I have some synth parts. And then all of these, right here in the middle, these are all vocals that I recorded to demo the song. And then up here is just tons and tons of vocal parts from all different artists. As I told you, what I did is I invited any professional children's musician to be a part of this. And I decided immediately I wasn't going to discriminate between famous and not famous. So there's everybody from Grammy winners to just regional people. As long as you've had a professional album, you're on if you wanted to be on. So we have sort of this unified message about climate change, which is kind of cool. And I enjoyed working with all of these people. You can see I have them all muted at the moment because really, let's start with this. This is the demo I made where it's just my vocals. We'll just listen to a little.
All right, everybody, hop right on the positive energy machine.
You can hear the saxophones as a horn section. So, and all of these vocals are going to be replaced by different lead singers. In fact, they have been replaced up here. We just have them muted at the moment. So here's all the vocals right here, my sort of demo vocals. All right, now, so what I'm almost sure is going to end up happening is a lot of the group vocals are going to end up being me anyways, because my singers, some of them sent group vocals in, some of them only sent their solo vocals. I'm going to try to make them into a choir, but honestly, it's probably going to sound pretty mismatchy, and I'm probably going to end up using a lot of my vocals to make sure the harmony sections sound uniform. But don't tell anybody. But I will definitely use everybody's solo vocals. Now, the first thing, after I record a bunch of tracks, and we talked in the last module about setting preamps and stuff, so we're not going to do all that. But the first thing I do is organize the tracks in a logical order so it's not misery when you have all of these tracks to figure out what the hell is going on. So I like to do it because I'm sort of an old orchestral score guy. I sort of like to do it in the order that it would be an orchestral score. So if you can see down here, car 1, car 2, car 3, I've got the sound effects down there. Then I've got the drum kit. Here, let me make these a little bigger. I've got the drums, bass. I actually have 2 different kinds of basses. Then I have keyboards, electric guitars. I have these synth guitar things, some synth chords. Then I have the saxes up above, and then I start doing all the vocals. Here's my group vocals. And then up here, we get to all the other people's vocals who are muted at the moment. Whatever your system is, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you have a system. So when you have all these tracks like this, it's easy for you to find what you're looking for. And I would add this. I've got some muted tracks down here that I don't need. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those. You can go, let's see, where is it? There. H, 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 H. I'm going to hide all those. Then you hit this. And now they're not going to show up anymore. Okay? Let's check out, let's go sort of instrument by instrument here. Let's start with the drums. One of the really cool things in Logic is they have these amazing virtual drummers. And when I'm on a project like this where it ends up, you know what, I'm not even going to hire a drummer. I'll solo the drums. what I end up doing is doing a lot of programming, so it's not just the default of what they have. You can see in here, I've got these broken up into a lot of different bits, and you can actually see right there, I've changed the parameters for here. When I select this, boom, you can see there's toms playing in this one, but there's not toms playing in this one. This is sort of a drum lick, so we'll play right there. So even though I'm using Logic's drummer, I'm making a lot of changes and playing a lot of different things. So ultimately, it sounds pretty darn good. Now I've got the Liverpool bass here. You can hear it sounds pretty good. And then in the chorus, I double it with this bass. Now it's out, okay? So actually I didn't double it in the chorus, I doubled it at the end of the verse. I don't even know my own song. All right, so now with all the instruments, where did it go? There it is, okay. Now you can hear, I played electric guitar here, and I played what I call metal guitar there. I've got one pan to the left, one pan to the right, even though I haven't really started mixing yet. And I recorded both of those with my Line 6 Variax. So here it is with all the instruments. Here's the synths. Take that out. Now, I'm going to fast forward to the bridge. In the bridge, I added this instrument. Instead of using electric guitar, I actually played this Turkish lute and something called the guzheng. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. And it sounded pretty cool. Here's what they sound like.
In the beginning, there was a splendid sky, and then came humankind.
And then it's doubled here.
And they built machines
Doubled octaves.
into the sky for them.
And then it comes in the guzheng. Again, apologies if I don't pronounce that correctly. Doubled the octaves there. And you can hear my actual guitar in the background. I've still got a real guitar in there. Right?
One day, humans decided.
And you can hear, that's my narration, but eventually I'm going to replace it with Skidoo's narration, the rapper we talked about in the class. Now here, let's go over here. Here's all the saxes I recorded. If you happen to be sort of a jack of all trades on some instruments, maybe master of none, but jack of many, you can do a lot of your own recording. If not, it's a great idea to develop relationships with other students and professionals who know how to play different things, and you can trade off. You know, you can help them with your engineering skills, and they could play trumpet, or you can play bass, and they can play sax, or whatever. I have found that there's a lot of creative things you can do. I generally, for big projects where I'm putting real money in it, I hire an awesome horn section. But when I don't have that money for a project like this one, I'm trying to do it for charity and not spend a lot. I can be my own horn section. Here are 6 of my alto parts, and here's the horn section. It's just me on my alto. And here it is with the music, unsoloed. There's all the backup vocals right there. I'll probably end up using most of those. You can see the horns here.
But I like this. Hey kid,
Now, you probably know about comping tracks already, but you can see here, I've recorded several. Actually, I just used all 4 from one take right there. Let's see if I can find one where I switched. Nope, I used all of those there too. Okay, I'm better than I thought at playing those things. But I can find one. I remember we recorded my daughter's vocals the other night in our class, and we did some switching. Where is it? Maybe it's here. There we go. Here's a few takes. So you can see I'm using different takes here.
But Alexa, so humankind created smarts.
Let me turn mine on.
So much creative.
So this is our second take.
They decided smarts were better than farts.
It's very elevated narration, as you can see. The third take, it goes up to there.
And they built machines that used...
Power, and they unveiled machines that use water power.
And they got machines that used...
Water power. No, remember?
Okay, so you can hear all that. Now, we haven't even mixed this stuff yet. And then I will show you all of these vocals here. These are all vocals by my guest vocalist. This one guy who's a great guy, he sent me 1, 2, 3, 4, it's something like 8 different takes. And I need to go through all those to figure out the best. Or maybe I won't. Maybe I'll find one and I'll just go, I'm using that one. But you can see these are all different vocalists. Let me zoom this out a little. Here we go. And I'm going to go through each one has a different mic sound. They all recorded in their own studios. So for example, let's listen to Marsha's voice. Okay, there's her. This is from the band Micah and Me. Let's see, he's only right there. Let's see what he's got.
Parent from that big stream and build a world so strong and clean.
So you can hear totally different sound. That one has really high frequency. Frankly, it doesn't sound as high quality as Marsha's. And I'm going to have to try to mix those together so they sound like they're in the same song, which is going to be the big challenge in this song. Let's go to Lori Enriquez here. She's an excellent Grammy-nominated sort of jazz pop singer for kids. Here's hers.
We toot our dreams, kiss them goodbye.
Actually, that's me singing hers. My bad. Let's see if I can find hers. That was the demo I made for her. Let's see if I can find her. Here she is in real life. Lori and Lori. I have 2 of hers somehow. Let's see what I got. Okay, here she is.
We toot our dreams, kiss them goodbye, and hardly ask why.
So that one has a little different sound. Lucy Kalantari won the Grammy 2 years ago. She's an amazing singer. Let's see what she sounds like.
Yeah, no more farting, our farting's departing.
Again, it's very, very elevated. Let's see what her... Oh, here's her vocals.
'Cause positive energy is something that shines so bright to me. It's our better nature shining through.
So you can hear she's got a great voice. Let's put her in the mix.
Your positive energy
There she is.
is something that feels so right to me. It's all the best things in life when you.
Now, as you can see over here, I don't have any effects on any of these vocals yet. I don't have anything on this stuff. And I'm going to give you guys a chance to have a crack at mixing some of these things. In a song like this, I would start with the instruments. Now, there are people who say, oh, you always need to start your mix right at the outset with the vocals because the vocal is the main instrument. That makes sense in theory, except if you look at this, we've got like, I don't know what it is, 40 vocal tracks, and that just sounds overwhelming for me. So what I am going to do is I am going to mute all the vocals except for the instruments. And then I'm going to try to get what I think sounds like a reasonable sort of pre-mix with these instruments only. And then the next thing I'll do is I'll add my vocals, because I like the sound of my mic and the way that sounds. So I'm going to put my vocals in, and then after I get that sounding pretty good, and sort of what I call a pre-mix, I'm not going to automate a bunch of stuff, but I'll at least get it sounding good. Then I would start adding these other vocalists in one by one, trying to get their sound to at least sound like it's in the same universe as the vocals that I did. I'm not going to make an effort to make them sound exactly the same. Part of the appeal of this song is all the different personalities and voices coming in. But they have to sound like they're at least on the same planet for a song about the planet, okay? So, as you can see, and then when you automate, I'm going to have to make these tracks bigger, so that I'll do this and then I'll delete it. But so that you could draw automation lines in here, you have to make these tracks bigger, and then obviously you can't see as many. And then when you're working on the main mix, you go back and you make them smaller so you can see more stuff. Now I have to go back and undo that before I forget what the heck I just did. Boom, undoing it all. Goodbye, automation. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take a break here, and we'll get back in a moment. So in the last video, we were talking a little about vocals. Whether you're recording vocals or instruments, you will often be in a room by yourself, being your own recording engineer and singer or performer, especially during the pandemic. What I do in here is I have my Vocal ISO booth over there. I use these headphones right here. I put them on, and I turn my volume down in my studio here. We're going to turn it back up for now. And then what I use is a thing called Cycle Record in Logic that pretty much any DAW have. Let me see if I can get this back on here. Come on, Bertha. There we go. Okay, there we go. Very high end. Okay, so you can see, just as an example here, I've got a bunch of different vocal tracks here. It's Chorus Women 1, Corey, Chorus Women 2, Corey. These are all the scratch tracks I recorded for the women to learn their parts, and frankly, I'm probably going to end up just using me singing on a lot of them.
Positive energy.
There we go. So you do this cycle record. In Logic, you just grab this thing up here. You can make it as long as you want, and what that means is you're only going to record in this section, and then it will go back to the start. Here's why that's so useful. Let's just make it a tiny cycle for now, just for demo purposes. The reason it's so useful is you can take multiple takes by yourself without going back and forth between the console and where you're recording. So, for example, if we record here, we're going to record on this track right here. Obviously, I'm not singing, but it is recording. You can see it going over in the red. When it ends, boom, it goes back and records again. So if I open this up, you can see it's doing new comp takes. Boom, it just added that one. Boom, it keeps adding them. Okay, now, obviously, that's too, I'm going to undo all that. Obviously, those are too short. So, but what you do is you start a measure early, and you let it go, you sing the whole thing, and then you make it go maybe a measure, that's way longer than I want, let's start this over, maybe a measure longer, and then you can just sing the whole chorus, have an extra measure at the end, an extra measure at the start, and then you sing it again. What I like to do, if you look here at my takes, let's find one with better takes. There's 3 takes, okay, you can see here, 3 full takes, 1, 2, 3. I like to sing the whole thing, and I highly recommend that even if you're dubbing in just a few lines or words. It almost always sounds phony or crappy if you just sing like 3 notes or 1 line. So what I tend to do is you can see I did it here. I recorded this chorus 3 times in a row. I don't know why I just did these 2 here, but 3 times in a row. And then what I'll do is I'll go and I'll audition them line for line and hear which one is the best and put that one.
It's positive energy.
Now you notice, actually, I decided I sang all of this one fine, so I just kept 1 take. Let's see if I can find, usually I'll switch, that one's only 1 take too. So I was better than I thought there. Let's try the, okay, here's one. You can see in that one and in this, here's one. Okay, let's try this one. You can see in this one, I thought these notes were the best, then I popped up to that, popped down to that, and popped down to that. Where it's blue is where you've opened up the window to that sound. So let's hear what it sounds like. Take 1, take 2, take 1, take 2. Now I'll shut up and you'll hear it sounds like 1 take.
You and I can too.
Okay? So now if we unsolo that and put it with everything else, and you can hear I actually have a bunch of effects on those vocals already, although I haven't mixed them at all. Now, my mixing philosophy, which is in terms of volumes, it's not necessarily the same as everyone else's. I like to automate vocals a lot and just compress them a little. Some people slap a gigantomongous compressor on it and just boom, that's done. You level the volumes and that's it. I like to get what I call sort of a pre-mix of all the instruments, which is set a basic level where they sound good. And I'll put a little compression on instruments and vocals and stuff. But I like to ride the vocals a lot. I don't know if it's just old school or what, but I feel like it gives a little more expression. I have not done that in this song yet, so I'm going to turn this off for a moment and switch to another song where I've done that, just so you can see all the little minute automations that you can do in vocals that really sometimes make a difference. All right, so I'm going to show you a little about how I like to automate vocals, and I'm going to do it with a song that I did just a couple weeks ago. I was actually recording a different song, and my friend Nathan Gunn, who's a very acclaimed musical theater and opera singer, I knew that his daughter is about 22 as a cellist, and I knew they had recording stuff at their house. So I called him up, I said, hey, can I get your daughter to record cello on a song? And he said yes, and we did the song, and then he texted me and said, hey, I like that song. I really like it. Can I sing on it? And when one of the greatest singers in the world says they want to do something with you, do it, right? So I said, this song's done, but let's do something better. Let's do a duet. Let's do a duet, me and you. And he said, okay, great. I said, let me send you something tomorrow. So in the shower, I came up with an idea. And I called Nathan up and I said, hey, I was thinking about you in the shower, which incidentally is a great way to start any conversation with any adult. And I said, so we're both dads and we're at home. We're trying to be good dads in the coronavirus pandemic. And we love our families, but we're both probably kind of sick of it at the same time. So I said, let's sing a song about that. You know, a dad duet. And he said, I'm in. Okay, so in about a day, the song was written. In a day or two, we recorded it, him at his house, me at my house. And in another day, we mixed it. So what you don't want to do with a guy like Nathan Gunn, who you can look him up, his last name Gunn, he has one of the most beautiful voices in the world. You don't just want to slap a pop compressor on him and be done. He's too good for that. So what I did is I put mild compressor. I'll switch to the screen and I'll show you what I did. So here's the screen of this song. It's called Getaway. We're actually going to release it on Tuesday. If I have it up before this module goes up, maybe I'll send you a link to the video. We filmed a hilarious video for it, if you're interested. You can see over here, I actually do have a bunch of effects on mine and his vocals, but they're all really mellow. I got some EQ, a little compressor, a little limiter, Space Designer, which is the reverb in Logic, a really nice reverb. But they're all really mild. What you can see on the screen, I've got the automation curves there. Let me make it even a little bigger. And you can tell that I did a lot of automating. Well, let me just play it. This is me. This is him.
Around the hole, that child in the room that used to be the floor, but now it's art.
You can see he's way up right there.
I thought it would nice, but now I'm thinking twice. A family with a heart is one at times.
Changed a lot right there.
I know our love is true.
He's up there. He's down there.
Now I'm wanting to get away from you. Hit it, kid.
I thought you weren't at bat.
All right, so now let's solo our vocals. That's my punk kid Riley coming in and showing us all up there. But if you listen here,
Will that child ever grow? That used to be the floor, but now it's
right here, it's way up.
close more. I thought it would be nice, but now I'm thinking twice.
Let's just focus on the butt right there, okay? You'll notice right here,
Close more. I thought it would be nice, but now I'm thinking twice.
so I turned up, but now I'm thinking twice. But was quiet, so I turned it up. You can see here, there's some dialogue bits. His was too loud, so I turned him down. Mine was too soft, so I turned it up. Let's go there.
A family with a heart is one at times apart. That's smart. Thanks. I know our love is true, but now I'm wanting to get away from you. Hit it, kid.
And you can hear, again, when I say hit it, kid, my dialogue, I turn it up. I find when I have spoken parts in songs, I ride the volumes all over the place. I prefer doing that to too heavy compression, which you can really hear the effect. So anyways, you can do that on instruments too. I definitely do that on crescendos and on accented notes and things like that. I like to get right in there. The way you do it in Logic is you grab this pencil tool and you can just start drawing, right? You can also do it with a fader if you want. I often just do it with the pencil tool. Okay. So right after I turned that off, I thought of a few other things I wanted to show you regarding vocal editing, sort of pre-mixing, so we're going to do that now. So I just wanted to show you a few things about mixing vocals, or really pre-mixing vocals, editing vocals, with crossfades and pitch shifting and nudging things in time a little bit, which can make huge differences. So first, I'm just going to show you, this is Nathan's part, my vocal part, and my daughter Riley's part, just to hear you what it sounds like with the music before we go into the details a little bit.
I thought it would be this, but now I think it's this. I love you every time, but just not all the time. I thought it would be nice, but now I'm thinking twice.
Okay, so that's what it sounds like. Now, if we go in here, you can see a whole lot of different types of edits. First of all, Riley, I have flex pitch on, which is sort of their version of Melodyne, which is actually a really good version. Their pitch shifting in Logic is actually quite nice now. I'm going to turn it off for a moment because I'm going to show you. She actually didn't do anything wrong. I just decided I wanted to. Here's what it sounds like initially.
I thought it would be bliss, but now I think it's this. I love you every time.
So, and you can hear I've got some effects on her over there.
I thought it would be bliss.
And here's what it sounds all together.
I thought it would be bliss.
Now, after listening to it, I decided I didn't want her to sing, I thought it would be bliss. I wanted her to sing, I thought it would be bliss, because I thought that sounded cooler. So, in flex pitch, I changed that last note every time she sung that, and now you can hear, instead of singing this,
I thought it would be bliss.
she sings this.
I thought it would be bliss.
That note's half step up, okay? So, and all together, I just like that. I thought it sounded cooler.
I thought it would be bliss, but now I think it's this.
So that's why her track sounds different there. Now, you can see here, these are all different takes. I comped these. I had several takes of everyone, and then I flattened them so you can no longer see the different comps. But what I've done is I've crossfaded, obviously, in between each one, so that if you can just take, we'll just take me, and you can see the crossfades now sound smooth.
I thought it would be bliss, but now I think it's this. I love you every time, but just not all the time.
Okay, so that is how we crossfade those. Different programs crossfade different ways, but Like in Logic, you can just grab the fade tool. You can do a wide fade or a small fade. I like small fades. And you need to be careful. Listen to your vocal tracks soloed when you're doing the crossfading, because otherwise you'll notice you get all sorts of like weird breath things where it'll go stuff like that, because you won't notice that you crossfade right in the breath, and then later you'll be listening on headphones and you're like, what the hell is that? So always do your crossfades, or at least audition your crossfades after you've done them soloed. Now, if you look at Nathan is easily the most acclaimed singer of the three of us, and you can see there's more cutting up of his track than either of ours. So why would that be if he's such a great singer? He is a great singer. The reason why is he recorded at his house, we recorded at our house, and I decided that I wanted to rhythmically have it all locked up with my part. And his part wasn't always exactly on the rhythm, and I get really meticulous. So what I would do is I would just cut it up and I'd just nudge things a little bit this way, that way, so that, I just screwed it up, there we go. So that we're all, I actually try to make it almost tight, but not so tight that it sounds fake. So all those cuts in his track are not him singing wrong, it's just me fiddling with our rhythms a little bit so they sound simultaneously tight but loose. Here they go.
I love you every time, but just not all the time. I thought it would be nice, but now I'm thinking twice.
And so this is sort of a like an old Rat Pack type of song. If you listen to it with the instruments now, you can hear it has the vibe that I was looking for.
I thought it would be bliss.
Including Riley having that sharp note instead of the natural note, and Nathan's rhythm a little bit looser.
I thought it would be bliss, but now I think it's this. I love you every time, but just not all the time. I thought it would be nice, but now I'm thinking twice.
Well,
So you certainly don't have to do all of that on your vocals. I don't do it all the time. As you can see, I did nothing on Riley's up above. I did less on mine. But sometimes it's fun to get really meticulous and really get the vocals to sound exactly the way you want them, even with amazing singers. So I've already gone on a little too long. Here's what we're going to do now. You are going to do a mix of the Positive Energy song. And here's how it's going to work. I'm going to make all the tracks available. I will spend the next day or so editing them down into just individual sound files. I will number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could just put them in a DAW 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it would be in a logical order. And I recommend the Positive Energy song is very complicated and busy. I don't think you should add a ton of stuff, maybe a little reverb here, definitely panning things, maybe some EQ. I mean, you can go crazy if you want, but I don't think it's probably going to be too beneficial to the song to go too crazy. And you can do different levels, since there's so many tracks. If you want, you can just mix the instrumental tracks, get us the best instrumental mix you can, that's fine. If you want to just do my vocals, including my demo vocals, where I demo everybody's vocals, so it's fewer vocal tracks for you to mix and work with compression and stuff, that's fine. Or if you want to go crazy and just mute my 2 demo vocals and add everyone's, that's the toughest thing, because everyone's from a different mic. You want to try to allow their different sort of color and diversity of sound to come through, but also make them sound like they belong in the same song. You can do that. And I'll tell you this, anybody who comes up with good mix ideas for us, we might use it or base our ideas on some of the things you do. I might even ask you for your mix and say, hey, can I grab that and tweak it a little? And we might release it that way. Now, of course, if we did that, I would probably ask you to write something down saying you don't expect to get paid anything. None of us are getting paid for this. It's a charity song. We're planning on giving all the money to environmental causes, if there is any money from it. But it would be great to get a credit as either an assistant engineer or an engineer, and maybe that would be something that would be pretty fun, exciting, and as a student in the pandemic, that you actually got a credit on something with a bunch of pretty well-known Grammy-winning musicians of the Arizona song. So I'm going to make those files available, write it up for you. And if you guys have any questions or anything, you know how to email me or contact me. Thanks.